I'm speaking with Oli London, who has traveled quite a distance in his life. He's 34, correct?
33.
33. And his book, again, Gender Madness. So he transitioned for a year, and he had a long period of being uncomfortable with his body. Were you uncomfortable with your body, or just uncomfortable with life, or both?
It was both. I really developed a self-hatred of myself. So, when I was a teen, I would look in the mirror and be so critical. And, I tried to make myself vomit so I wouldn't have to go to school and try to pretend to be sick because I hated myself that much and I was terrified of people's opinions of me. So it was more about, society around me.
Because you had a feminine aspect.
I was very feminine, and hence I was singled out by kids and these bullies. Mm-hmm.
I understand. And as we said earlier, if this happened a few years ago when you were a teenager, you would have definitely undergone transitioning. The study you cited from Finland, 80% regret having transitioned. Is that what they said?
So the study said around over 80% of teens that have very severe gender dysphoria, that's like the most difficult. They basically were convinced that they were the opposite gender. When they became adults and went into adolescence, that disappeared and they started to live a normal life and become themselves. There's also a Canadian doctor.
Oh, so they had gender dysphoria, but they didn't necessarily transition.
Some of them were being treated, yes. So some of them at this clinic that did the study, they were being treated.
But it includes both groups.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
In other words, overwhelmingly, people grow out of gender dysphoria. Correct. So to do anything permanent that alters their life and body is wrong.
Correct. And then, all of the studies that claim there's a very low number of detransitioners, guess what? All of these studies are conducted by the clinics that perform these surgeries.
I know. So, like the World, what is that? That World, what is the name of that group? The world's largest W something. Anyway, that's...
The Human Rights Campaign, maybe?
No. It's I'll get the name. But That's who they get their data from. That's who the New York Times gets its data from.
Right.
They get it from activists.
Mm-hmm. And the same with the Associated Press, which is what most media use for their news source, right? That is controlled basically by the trans activists. You have lobby groups like the Human Rights Campaign that go around to these companies and organizations and give them a DEI or Corporate Equality Index score based on how trans inclusive they are, and they push this language that makes women the enemy, that makes parents the enemy, and that anyone that dares to question doing this to kids is suddenly a bigot and hateful. So the mainstream media is pushing this narrative.
I have no doubt that there are people listening right now whose child has just said to them, whose daughter, let's say, because it's usually a girl, she's 11, and she says, Mom, Dad, if there is a dad, Mom, Dad, I'm a boy. What should they say?
Well, I get parents messaging me every single day with this scenario, and they don't know what to do because parents just want the best for their kids, but parents need to speak to their kids and say, look, you are a teenager. Teenagers go through all sorts of different emotions and feelings. Some teenagers, they want to be a goth. Some people want to be an emo. Some people want to be a pirate, or some kids want to be a dinosaur for the day. But it doesn't mean we go around, chopping their body parts off to affirm that identity. So I think, parents just need to speak to their kids and say, look, everything that you're feeling right now is mostly because you're a teenager going through puberty. Things always get better. And also parents need to be aware of what is being taught in schools because, I know a lot of parents, kindergartens, 5-year-olds, 6 years old, they're coming back from school telling, Mum, I was taught today about this thing that I can change my gender, I can be trans, So parents need to really see what's going on at schools and on social media and keep a track of that because, kids are being influenced by that, So that's a very important thing to look out for.
It certainly is.